It's time to run it back, and I'm your host, Sydney Clark. We have a full lineup today with the Super Bowl this Sunday, and we are at the halfway point in the NHL season, and things are heating up in both the NBA and the NCAA. And speaking of college hoops, Kansas basketball was on fire last night for Big Monday, defeating the Texas Longhorns and redeeming themselves after a loss to Iowa State this weekend. Let's head to Jackson Reed, who will talk some more KU hoops for us. Jackson, what did you think of that Kansas performance last night?
Welcome back to your KU Hoops Rundown. I'm Jackson Reed, and we have 3 games to break down, so let's hop right into it. The last time we saw you, January 31st, Kansas hung 90 on in-state rival K-State. DeJuan Harris tied his career high of 18 points. Jalen Wilson added another 20-point performance to his wooden case, and Kevin McCullough chipped in 16. Flash forward to last Saturday, Kansas traveled to Ames to take on Iowa State, who entered the game undefeated at home, and Kansas found out exactly why. Iowa State locked down everybody but Jalen Wilson, and Kansas struggled to get anything going, and they suffered their 4th Big 12 loss of the year. Looking to bounce back, Kansas got right last night against Texas. Despite Jalen Wilson only scoring 2 points, his supporting cast came out of the rabbit hole and showed up to play. Grady Dick had 21, DeJuan Harris had 17, and Kevin McCullough, again, 16 points. And out of nowhere, Joe Yesufu dropped 14 points in the 88-80 win over the Longhorns. Kansas looks toward the great state of Oklahoma as they will take on the Sooners on Saturday and Oklahoma State a week from today. I'll throw this right back over to Sid. Sid, what's next?
It's Super Bowl week. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles will face off in Super Bowl 57 and is what is now known as the Kelsey Bowl. And there's only one right way to talk about that, and that's going for a fourth and Bez to discuss this matchup. Jackson, how are you feeling?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Fourth and Bez. This past weekend was Conference Championship week in the NFL between the Eagles and the Bengals and the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Eagles and the 49ers. To start off this weekend, or I should say 2 weekends ago, we've got the Eagles and the 49ers taking off in Philly. Brock Purdy has been the golden boy for the Niners the past couple of months, going 7-0 and winning 2 playoff games over that stretch. His story as the last pick in the draft to one of the last 4 quarterbacks standing at the end of the year is remarkable. Unfortunately, Purdy hurt his elbow on the forced fumble by the Eagles and was sidelined until the middle of the third quarter, but by then it was already too late. The Eagles' run game had been dominant all afternoon, and it just did not stop. The Philly defense was also just too dominant all day. Miles Sanders scored his first touchdown of the game, and he just wants to rock. He also had another one later on in the first half. Jalen Hurts added another one himself, and the Eagles punched their first ticket to the Super Bowl since Nick Foles, and Hurts becomes the youngest quarterback in NFL history to reach the Super Bowl. Eagles win the NFC 31-7. And in the AFC, Burrow-Mahomes AFC Championship game Part 2 did not disappoint. Neither side could really get anything going in the first half, but that doesn't make the 15-87 connection any less automatic. They connect for the first score of the game on 4th down to give the Chiefs the largest lead of the game of 13-3. Cincinnati would get a field goal at the end of the half, then the Bengals started the second half hot as Joe Burrow found T. Higgins, you can't teach 6'5", 220 folks, to tie the game back up at 13 after being just down 10. But Kansas City said, hey man, no way, and came right back and scored as Mahomes found Marquez Valdes-Scantling to put the Chiefs back up in this one by a touchdown. Just an incredible play by Mahomes to find a sweet spot in the pocket and hit MVS as he was falling down. Now, later on in this match, Samaje Perine would end up knotting the score back up on a short run to start the 4th quarter, and after multiple head-scratching play calls and stale offenses, Kansas City finally got into field goal range, and Harrison Butker knocked it through to send the Chiefs to Phoenix. KC wins the AFC 23-20 with a chance for Pat and Big Red to get number 2. So now we're here. It's Super Bowl week. The Kelsey Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl, the first Super Bowl matchup with 2 black quarterbacks. There are so many great and fun storylines within this game, but the biggest one, in my opinion, Kansas City getting that 2nd title. We all know how dominant the Chiefs have been since Mahomes took the helm, but it can't be a dynasty with only 1 ring. To truly solidify themselves in NFL lore, to join Belichick and Brady and Montana and Walsh, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid need to win number 2, and that moment could come this Sunday. And I'll be back next week to break it all down for you guys, but for now, we're going to head to a break with a mid-season review on the Chell, coming up next from Richie.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Have a nice day. You too. Have a great day. Thanks. You too.
Make someone's day. Pay it forward.
It's the halfway point in the NHL season after this weekend's All-Star Games, and what a game it was in sunny Sunrise, Florida. We will head to Richie with an NHL half-season update.
Thank you, Sydney. With the NHL All-Star break now behind us, I feel it's fitting for us to take a look of where the NHL sits at the halfway mark. Let's look at how things are shaping up in the East. In the Metropolitan Division, the Carolina Hurricanes are holding on for dear life in first place with much of the division hot on their tail. The Metropolitan has easily been the consensus toughest division in hockey this year. Almost every single team in the Metro has above 50 points. Don't worry, Columbus, we all have those days. This will be the division to keep an eye on as the season races towards the end. The Boston Bruins have an absolute chokehold on not just the whole league, but especially their division. The Bees hold an 11-point lead over the second-place team in the Atlantic Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and hold a 9-point lead over the next best team in the NHL, the Hurricanes. The Bruins have been Stanley Cup favorites all year, and I have a sneaky suspicion this will not change from now to the end of the year. Now, for things on the west side. Out in the Central Division, the Dallas Stars, led by young phenom Jason Robertson, are out front with a 3-point lead over the Winnipeg Jets, who have been in quite the downward trajectory their last few games. Last year's Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, found themselves sitting in the 4th spot of the division, but only 9 points back of the Stars. The Seattle Kraken, yes, the Seattle Kraken, are the first-place team in the Pacific Division at this point. This division is very tight in the top half, as the first-place Kraken and the 5th-place Calgary Flames are only separated by 6 points. Vegas and Los Angeles are only 1 point behind the Kraken as well. I can truly say any of the top 5 teams in this division can win the Pacific. Now, how can I do a midseason review without awarding who I think won each award in the first half of the season? The winner of Hart Memorial Trophy is a no-brainer. Edmonton Oilers' Connor McDavid led the whole NHL in goals and points in the second in the league in assist category. Absolutely unreal. I'm giving the first half Norris Trophy to New York Rangers defenseman Adam Fox. So far, Fox has been playing better the year when he won the Norris. However, it's not as clear-cut as a Memorial Trophy, and a lot of people could come up from behind and beat out Fox. As of right now, I'm giving the Vezina Trophy to Boston Bruins goalie Linus Ullmark, but do not surprise if New York Islanders Ilya Sorokin beats out Linus by the end of the year for this award. Lastly, I present the Calder Trophy to Seattle Kraken's Matty Beniers. He leads all rookies in goals and points and is only 2nd in assists. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the divisions and the war races shape up in these last few months of the NHL season. Now, are you wondering how KU Women's Hoops played against Texas? Well, I am. So, Alex, can you fill us in?
So far in February, the Kansas women's basketball team has faced 2 tough teams and fought through both of them. Next week, we have 2 games as well, and right at the end of January, we played K-State. Coming up on top, 85-72 against K-State. Now this week, we have 2 different games. So we traveled to Waco to play the Baylor Bears, and although they didn't come through with the win, they sure went down fighting. Throughout the game, Kansas trailed by as many as 11 points, but throughout the 4th quarter, they consistently chipped away at Baylor's lead and ultimately ended the game down 4 with a final score 77-73. The highest scoring Jayhawk of the game goes to the 2022-2023 Marlene Mawson Exemplary Student Athlete Award, Holly Kurzgeter, who is responsible for keeping the Hawks in winning range, and in the final moments against Baylor, she dumped in 20 points. Coach Snyder attributed this loss to the mistakes made by Kansas that Baylor was able to capitalize on, and even though the Jayhawks out-rebounded and outscored Baylor in the paint, the Bears just simply made more shots. Back home to Allen Fieldhouse, the Jayhawks were set to play another Texas-based team, this time the ranked Longhorns. In another close back-to-back game, the 2 teams were tied 9 separate times and with 7 lead changes. A basic recap of the game, Kansas would go on a run of points, and then the Jayhawks, specifically Franklin, would return with their own run, closing the spread. Franklin challenged defense in the Fieldhouse, matching her conference season high 21 points, and she also recorded her 14th double-double of the season. The team is currently 14-7 overall and 4-5 in the Big 12 play. Next up for the Jayhawks, TCU at home. This season, TCU is 0-11 in conference play. Later this week, yet another Texas team, that's 4 in a row for the Jayhawks, and we will travel to Texas Tech. But one game at a time, so the question for today is, will the Jayhawks break their 2-game loss streak, or will TCU have their first conference win of the season? You can check it out Wednesday in the Fieldhouse, but right now you can catch Sid after the break.
We have a new face on the show today. Barry Anderson is here to discuss what is going on in the NBA. Barry, welcome to Run It Back.
Thank you, Sydney. This past weekend for the NBA has been somewhat flowing by. First, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. They faced off against the New Orleans Pelicans on Sunday, Bucks winning 135-110, giving the Pelicans their 8th straight loss. The Pelicans, who are at the top of their conference now, sit in the 8th spot at 26-25. The Pelicans are still in the absence of Ingram and Williamson. Although Ingram is set to return Tuesday to play against the Nuggets, it is still questionable on his toe. The Pelicans still won't know when Williams is set to return. With both players eventually going to come back to playing together, Pelican fans should have a lot of optimism in their team being back at the top of the conference. The other side, though, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who had his 5th career 50-point game, adds on to one of his best career games. He had a whopping 50 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists. He went 20 for 26 in field goals and did all of this only in 30 minutes. Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez contributed to the table, combining for 32 points, making the Bucks only 1 game behind the Philadelphia 76ers. Moving on. The thing that a lot of people have been talking about in the media this week is the Los Angeles Lakers. The game played against the Celtics Friday night built up a lot of controversy at the end of regulation. Tied up 102, the Lakers star forward LeBron James received the ball in an inbound play with 4 seconds left, drove in and missed a potential game-winning layup. He indeed was fouled, and it wasn't reviewable. It was replayed numerous times. Later on, though, the NBA announced that it was a foul and that they made a crucial mistake on their part. Even though LeBron dropped 41 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, it just wasn't enough to get the job done against Boston. And unfortunately for the Lakers, they can't get this game back. And also, can't get all the other 3 recent missed call games they lost back. The Lakers could be a 4th seed team right now, but are currently sitting at the 13th seed. NBA All-Star Week is coming up soon and have announced starters. I'll give you more intel on that next week. But in the meantime, Tom is going to bring you in some elite content about what's happening in the tennis world.
Thanks, Barry. The Australian Open has ended, and it was a fantastic tournament. Aryna Sabalenka claimed her first major title in Melbourne. This was a crucial win for her when she defeated Wimbledon champ Rybakina in 3 sets. On the men's side, Novak Djokovic is breaking records. Again, Djokovic had an almost perfect tournament by only dropping 1 set the whole tournament. Djokovic went into the tournament with a strapped leg, and he completely dominated the competition. This is Djokovic's 22nd title, as he is all tied up with Rafa Nadal.
He's a perfect 10. Not only champion of Australia for a 10th time, but he is the...
Undoubtedly, Djokovic is the fittest and the best player on the ATP right now. His performance against Tsitsipas was fantastic. After the break, Chad will give us an update on the NCAA mid-major basketball.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
What a week it was for mid-majors across the country. If one thing is clear about this year's tournament, it's that absolutely no one is safe. So let's dive headfirst into this week's mid-major update. There's no better place to start than the Bay Area, where the St. Mary's Gales defeated Gonzaga in overtime fashion on Saturday. The Gales overcame an 8-point halftime deficit and remained undefeated atop the West Coast Conference. Freshman guard Ada Mahaney scored or assisted 19 of the Gales' last 21 points of regulation. The kid was cooking in front of his home faithful. After the game, Mahaney told reporters, "This isn't an upset. Tough. What a lethal ego check for the Zags." Next up is a squad making its debut in the mid-major update, the North Texas Mean Green. Winners of their last 4, North Texas is starting to come alive in Conference USA. The Mean Green are led by senior guard and professional bucket getter Tyler Perry, who's averaging over 17 points per game this season. North Texas boasts the second best scoring defense in all of college basketball, only behind the Houston Cougars. They're currently holding opponents to just over 55 points per game. Last up is a familiar name for mid-major enthusiasts, the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. In November, I told you not to let the Eagles' 3-3 slow start fool you. Sure enough, they've won 18 of their last 19 in 8 straight. In those last 19 games, senior guard Max Amos has been the leading scorer for 16 of them. Can't wait to see him dancing in March one last time.
Thanks for that, Chad. For sure, keep an eye on a few of those teams to ruin all of our brackets come March. With that being said, it is time for top plays, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Coming in at number 5, let's go to the AFC Championship game and look at Jamar Chase. Goes up and mosses 2 Chief defenders on a 4th and 6, a huge play in the game, but it wasn't enough as the Bengals finally lose to the Chiefs 23-20. Play number 4, we'll go ahead and switch conferences and go to the NFC Championship game to see this Devontae Smith incredible one-handed catch. Replay made it look like a drop, but it was ruled a catch on the field. We have more from this game coming up in just a little bit. Now, let's check out this sequence by West Virginia's James Okonkwo for play number 3. He gets the incredible block on one end, basically pinning Bacho's shot against the backboard. And then on the other end of the floor, goes and finishes with an and one. As you can see there, goes up, gets a nice easy basket. Great sequence from the young man as the West Virginia dominates Tech 76-61. More from the NFC Championship game for play number 2. Christian McCaffrey, refusing to go down, bounces off multiple defenders and stumbles his way into the end zone for the touchdown. This was about the only bright spot in the game for the Niners, who could not keep a quarterback healthy all year, and the Eagles win to advance to the Super Bowl. Our top play from this week comes from Marshall's Tavion Kinsey. Before the first TV timeout, he brings out a 360 in-game. Incredible confidence shown by the young man gives him the top spot in this week's top plays. And there you have it. Those were your top plays of the week. Let's see what Sydney Clark has picked out for her feel-good moment in sports.
Thanks, Brock. I'm heading to the gymnastics floor for my feel-good moment of the week, and it is the 2020 Olympic all-around gymnastics champion Suni Lee, who recorded 2 perfect 10 routines in one competition, 10 on bars and follow-up for 10 on the beam, a simply unreal performance for an unreal athlete. Well, that is the running back of the weekend I have for you, and thanks for running it back with us once again. There are other sports shows you can catch in and tune in throughout the week here on KU Media Crossroads. Playmakers at noon on Friday with On the Clock to follow at 1 p.m. We will see you all next time. Have a great week and enjoy your Super Bowl watch parties.